Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Endzone to Endzone. I'm your ugly ass host, Ryan F. You see on the screen, you might see Fernando. First of all, Eagles won. I don't have to worry about the Chiefs trying to feed the clock anymore. But welcome to another edition of Endzone to Endzone, week 11. So, first of all, Mike, you're back from assignment on the equator. So how you doing? Mike Fuji was on assignment by the equator, somewhere on the equator. He hasn't been on for about 3-4 weeks, but he's back. So, Mike, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Like I was talking to you earlier, I want to say hi to everybody. I want to dedicate the show to my mom, who passed away a year ago tomorrow. It's hard to believe, but the show's for her, and God bless her. Looking down on myself and my family, and other than that, doing all right. Ryan, no, Eagles are 8-2. Winning 6 straight. It's heating up now with this NFC playoffs. Everybody's jockeying for position. Detroit, Minnesota, Eagles, Green Bay, at least in the NFC. Buffalo finally giving your Chiefs their first loss. So
yep,
it's like stuff's tightening up a little bit in both conferences. How are you? Thanks for that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm doing okay. I sort of predicted the Chiefs were going to lose this week. You can see it coming. They desperately need Isaiah Pacheco back. Look, they've been flirting with disaster all year long, all these close games, and they take the first loss, so maybe this will refocus them. So week 11, it all started Thursday night with Fuji's Eagles winning 26-18. Philly now 8-2. Washington drops to 7-4. Washington was up at the half, and then Philadelphia took over in the second half. Saquon Barkley did his thing. If we go to the stats, Jaden Daniels was 22 of 32, 191, a touchdown and a pick. Brian Robinson, 16 carries, 63 yards. Austin Eckler, 8 catches, 89 yards. Jeremy from my chinny chin chin, he was the leading tackler for Washington, 13 tackles. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 18 of 28, 221 yards. More importantly, no interceptions. He didn't throw a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, again, doing his thing. 26 carries, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 5 catches at 65 yards. Dallas Goedert, 5 catches, 61 yards. Zach Bond, the leading tackler again, with 15 total tackles. If you go to the team stats, Washington was pathetic. They were 3 of 12 on third down. Philly was 9 of 16. Just taking a look at the game, Fuge. I caught some of it. I didn't catch all of it because I'm an old bastard and I had to go to sleep early. But look, Washington only had 93 yards rushing. They couldn't do diddly squat in the second half. I'm trying to look over some of the other stats here. Looking at over some of the other team stats, when you can't run a football, Philadelphia ran it for 228 yards. Washington only ran it for 9-3. Washington couldn't convert on third down. That for me was the ball game. I mean, Philly kept drives alive. Like I said, 9 of 16 on third down. Look, they're 8-2. I know some Eagles fans still aren't happy because I don't think Philly's played a complete game yet. But look, you're 8-2. Minnesota's 8-2. Detroit's 9-1. You're still in play for home field advantage, Pooch.
No, of course. I mean, it's just 6 straight. Have they really played a complete game? I mean, the offensive line still needs work. The sacks. And Hurts. Then again, he don't help his causes. Sitting back there trying to do too much on himself. Holding the ball, and he's got to learn to get rid of. Correct these mistakes now, because you're down in the final 7 weeks, and now's the time you're going to be getting into the cold month of December, where you're going to be pounding the ball. And to me, like, Barkley's kicking ass up and down the field, but I like to see them give him a little bit of a breather with Gainwell and get Shipley involved. But I got to give credit to this defense too. Like, the big stop they had on James Daniels really turned the game there. And Quinyon Mitchell, this kid is balling out, defensive MVP of the year. He's just shutting Big Nick, the number 1 receiver, down. He's making a name for himself. Zach Bowen, if the Eagles don't re-sign this guy, Howie's a moron. I mean, it's another story of the T.J. Edwards go. And Kobe Dean's stepping up. Cooper DeJean stepping right into the slot. Jalen Carter's coming. That defense, like I said, this team wouldn't be 8-2 without Barkley and this defense stepping up at the right time.
Again, the Eagles are 8-2. They sit atop the NFC East. Washington, with their first taste of adversity this year, losing to, they are now 7-4. We get to today's games, some interesting games, some not so interesting games. We'll start with 1:00 games. The New Orleans Saints beat the holy hell out of the Cleveland Browns, 35-14. I think this Cleveland team has basically quit. You can sort of see it in the body language. They just look disinterested. They just don't look. They don't look right. They're getting ready for the holidays and like some golf.
Seems it.
Yeah. Cleveland, Jameis Winston was 30 of 46. That's right. I said 46 times he threw for 395 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But look, Cleveland couldn't run the football. Collectively, they ran the ball 20 times for 66 yards, which is horrendous. Jerry Jeudy, have yourself a day. 6 receptions, 142 yards, and a touchdown. Grant Delpit was the leading tackler with 9 total tackles. We go to the Saints side. Derek Carr was 21 of 27, 248, 2 touchdowns. More importantly, no picks. Taysom Hill, ladies and gentlemen, 7 carries, 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, outshining Alvin Kamara. Your leading receiver was Marquez Valdez-Scantling with 2 catches, 87 yards, and a touch. Taysom Hill also caught 8 balls for 50 yards. Leading tackler was Demario Davis with 13 total tackles. Look, I know Cleveland had to throw a ball a lot. That's why Jameis Winston's numbers were inflated. But look, you're only running the ball for 66 yards. New Orleans ran it for 214 yards, Fuge. New Orleans even turned it over twice. Cleveland was only 3 of 13 on third down. The fact of the matter, Fuge, when you can't convert third downs and you can only run the ball for 66 yards collectively, you're not going to win many games. They just don't look – they're ready for the season to be over is what it looks like.
Well, I'm looking at the stats here. New Orleans having, time of possession really only like 38 to 29-22, which seems like Cleveland did have the ball just as not much longer than the Saints had it. So, 3 sacks given up by Cleveland. As you said, just looking at the third down efficiency, Saints 5 for 10 and Cleveland converting 3 for 13. Matter of fact, Cleveland had 70 total plays compared to the Saints of 58 plays. So that's and it was still a 23 touchdown game.
Nick Chubb with only 11 carries for 50 yards. But again, Cleveland got down. They had to throw the football. New Orleans on life support. They're 4-7 now. 2 wins in a row, by the way. Cleveland falls to 2-8, and they're ready to sing Christmas carols. Minnesota Vikings sort of survive. Tennessee really. I mean, they cut it close a little bit, but it wasn't a boring game. It was sort of a defensive struggle for most of the game. But look, Minnesota gets to win 23-13. You have to win ugly games like this. For Minnesota, Sam Darnold was 20 of 32, 246, 2 touchdowns. More importantly, no interceptions. Minnesota ran the ball 33 times for only 82 yards. That needs to improve. They've sort of gotten away from Aaron Jones a little bit. Justin Jefferson did his thing, 6 catches, 81 yards. Andrew Van Ginkel, he had 8 total tackles. For the Titans, Will Levis, 17 of 31, 295, a touchdown, and a pick. But Fuji, Tennessee, only 19 carries for 33 yards collectively. Nick Westbrook, Akine, this is what he normally does: 2 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown, which he's like Gabe Davis. Kenneth Murray, their leading tackler, 10 total tackles. Will Levis was also sacked 5 times. Looking at the team stats, really the turnovers equaled out. But look, I look at the stats here. Minnesota did just enough running the football. They only had 82 yards rushing collectively as well. Nothing stellar. But Tennessee could not run the football. Fuge. Minnesota is top 5 defensively against the run. It showed today. That's why they won this football game.
Well, also looking, the tails of the tape, Tennessee had 13 penalties for 91 yards. That's just shooting yourself in the foot, and bad discipline by Callahan, coach of those Tennessee Titans.
The Vikings are now 8-2. The Tennessee Titans are now 2-8, and also waiting to sing Christmas carols. The Miami Dolphins, again, on life support. Vegas made a game of it for a little bit. Miami pulled away. Miami with now a 2-game winning streak. It was sort of like it was back and forth for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Raiders cut it close for a little while, but then, like I said, Miami pulled away in the second half. For the Raiders, the men's stash was 30 of 43, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Again, here's a rushing theme, ladies and gentlemen. Las Vegas, collectively 16 carries for 60 yards, which is not going to cut it. It's Alexander Madison only carried it 5 times. Zamir White only 5 times. Brock Bowers continues to impress in his rookie year. He is going to be something special. 13 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Leading tackler was Robert Spillane, 11 total tackles. For the Finns, Tua had himself a day, 28 of 36, protected his body, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. More importantly, no INTs. Devin Achane, 17 carries, 73 yards. Jonnu Smith, ladies and gentlemen, tight end, 6 catches, 107, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill added a touchdown. Jordan Brooks, 12 total tackles for the Dolphins. Looking at the tail of the tape, as Fuji likes to say, again, sort of an equal game as far as time of possession.
It's actually like a
6-7 minute difference, but
on the side of Miami, but
they were both good on 3rd down and 4th down efficiency. It's just, look, Miami made more big plays than what Vegas did. Vegas had 7 penalties for 43 yards, Miami 4 for 23. But Miami just if you took a look at the game and you watched some of the game, Miami was making big plays. Vegas was doing it in little chunks.
Right. It's just a shame to see Brock Bowers having the year he is on just an horrendous team, but it's growing pains. Of course, as they say.
What do they say?
Yeah, funny. Like I said, growing pains. Shame guys like that stud that's just like the pro baller that he might be, and just a below average team.
The Finns are 4-6, ladies and gentlemen, still on life support. The Las Vegas Raiders are, getting ready to hit the casinos and golf, and it's just not a good situation. The Ravens and Steelers in one of the games of the day, defensive battle as it always is. Pittsburgh pulls out the 18-16 win. Again, back and forth defensive struggle. Lamar Jackson was 16-33, a touchdown and a pick. Derrick Henry, 13 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown, although he did fumble it once. Isaiah Likely, the leading receiver, which is not good, 4 catches, 75 yards. Roquan Smith, 13 total tackles. For the Steelers, Russell Wilson, 23-36, 205 yards, no touchdowns, a pick. Najee Harris, 18 carries, 63 yards. George Pickens, 8 receptions for 89 yards. Patrick Queen, the former Raven, with 10 total tackles. The team stats, again, it was Baltimore turned it over 3 times, which is uncharacteristic. They had 12 penalties. Neither team could really run the ball, Fuji. I mean, it was basically even 124-122. But look, when you win a turnover margin and it's a defensive battle, you're normally going to win the game. And Pittsburgh goes to 8-2, Baltimore 7-4. Pittsburgh has a hold of this division right now.
Well, Pittsburgh just dominated this game, time of possession, 36-23, 13-minute differential. And as you say, the third down, it's pretty even keels. Pittsburgh giving up 4 sacks, but, they still found a way to win. And I was watching that game, and that was, division play at its finest. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, it's a heavyweight fight. Probably definitely one of the best rivalries in football. But, you appreciate good football, and, it turns out that Pittsburgh came out with the win. So.
In the laugher of the day, the Detroit Lions beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought Doug Peterson was going to get fired last week. He didn't. I have a feeling this might be the week, though. Detroit in the laugher, 52-6. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I said that 52-6. Mac Jones for the Jags, 17-29, no touchdowns, a pick. Jacksonville collectively ran the ball 17 times for 41 yards. Ryan Thomas Jr., 5 receptions for 82 yards. Foyesade Oluokun, 9 total tackles. The Lions, Jared Goff wasn't sacked. He was 24-29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. David Montgomery had 2 touchdowns rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs added a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams, each with over 100 yards receiving. St. Brown, 2 touchdown receptions. Williams, 1 touchdown reception. Jack Campbell, the leading tackler. Fuji, a laugher of epic proportions. Look, Detroit had the ball 40 minutes. Jacksonville, 20 minutes. It was a laugher. It was a joke. Jacksonville should be ashamed. They've quit on Doug Peterson. They've quit on the season, and it's showing.
2-9. I mean, if he doesn't get fired tomorrow, I'd be surprised. But who knows? Right now, I'll probably just ride it out to, the end of the year. And, it's like you said, another team getting ready to go home, sing Christmas carols, whatever, what have you. Yeah,
I
it's,
mean,
as we're getting. Go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry, no, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying like you see Detroit, leading the NFC, top the NFC 9-1. Then you got the Eagles and Minnesota both 8-2. It's everything is, as I said as we started the show off, everybody's jockeying for position where the upper echelon teams are basically turning it on, and it's coming down to crunch time the last 7 weeks as it's going to get more interesting. A lot of these bottom feeder teams have just packed it in. Like, it's pathetic, but hey, it's separating the elite from the bottom feeders.
The Lions improved to 9-1. The Jags are now 2-9. This is actually an exciting game. Rams Patriots. Rams winning at 28-22.
The Rams were up sort of big, I thought.
Yeah, they were. I think it was 28-13 at one point. New England made a little bit of a comeback. Look, Matthew Stafford still doing his thing. 18-27, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Kyron Williams, 15 carries, 86 yards. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, both over 100 yards a pop. Nacua had a touchdown reception. Cooper Kupp had 2. Quentin Lake and Christian Rosaboom each had 11 total tackles. Matthew Stafford was not sacked. Drake May continuing to impress, although he did have the interception, which sort of wasn't his fault. But he was 30 of 40, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Ramondre Stevenson, 20 carries, 73 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 5 catches, 70 yards and a touch. Marcus Jones, the leading tackler, with I think he had 9. The difference in the game, Fuge, I thought, look, New England's defense played well enough to win. It's just unfortunately New England turned it over twice. New England had the ball at 37 minutes. Rams only had it 22. Rams couldn't do anything on third down. New England a little better, but the 2 turnovers killed them. That's why the Rams won.
As you're getting into it, it was New England giving up 3 sacks. But, looks like you said, Drake May continues to impress, which is good for their future. I mean, I don't know. It seems like he's come on ever since, Gerald Mayo went with him and, they benched Jacoby Brissett. It's just about his fifth game already, 6th game. But, I think, May's got a lot of upside. And, you said, back during the draft, you thought he was the best quarterback coming out of the draft, in your opinion.
Yeah.
But I think New England has, some upside, and at least they got a future quarterback to build around, even though they're 3-8.
They're 3-8. The Rams are 5-5. And if anybody takes a look at the NFC West, it's a logjam. That's going to come down to the final week of the season, I think. Another exciting game. Same old Jets. The Colts. The Jets snatched defeat away from victory. This was a back and forth game. Colts got up big there for a little bit. Jets came back, took the lead. And then again, in true Jets fashion, the Colts score late to take the game. They go back to Anthony Richardson, do the Colts. He was 20 of 30, 272 yards, a touchdown. More importantly, no picks. Jonathan Taylor, 24 carries, 57 yards. But Anthony Richardson had the 2 bruising touchdown runs. He just basically bowling people over. Josh Downs, 5 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. EJ Speed, the leading tackler. For the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 29, 184, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 3 times. Breece Hall, 16 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 6 catches, 72 yards. Michael Clemens was their leading tackler. Looking at the team stats, Fuge, um, Indianapolis held the ball a little longer. Rushing yards were the same. Third down efficiency, for the most part, the same. But look, when the Jets took the lead, Jets defense had a chance to step up, and they didn't do it.
Just another Jets debacle, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. You get all that talent on that team. All this, probably one of the highest payrolls in the league. I don't know. This Jets team is just putrid. So I have to say, because I do feel bad for Jets fans. I just think Aaron Rodgers is a cancer there.
The Jets 3-8. The Colts still hanging tough in the wild card race. They're now 5-6. So we'll see what happens. The Packers hold on to beat the Bears. If anybody watched the end of the game, a la the Chiefs Broncos last week, Chicago in position to kick a game-winning field goal, and it gets blocked. Unfortunate for Bears fans because, you're thinking, the Bears are finally going to get their first victory. They've lost 8 straight to Green Bay. But look, losing teams find ways to lose. And, the Packers win 20-19. Jordan Love was kind of pedestrian today. He was 13-17, 261, a touchdown and a pick, which they were driving for a score. Josh Jacobs, 18 carries, 76 yards and a touchdown. Christian Watson, where the hell have you been? 4 catches, 150 yards receiving. Xavier McKinney and Carrington Valentine, each with 9 total tackles apiece. The Bears, Caleb Williams actually didn't play too bad. He was 23-31, 231, no touchdowns, no picks. DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams each had about 70 yards rushing apiece. DeAndre Swift with a touchdown. Rome Odunze, 6 carries, 65 yards. DJ Moore, 7 carries, 62 yards. Kevin Byard, the third, 9 total tackles. We go to the team stats, Fuji. Look, Green Bay's defense played well enough to win. They didn't turn the ball over any times. They won the rushing battle. They were 9-16 on third downs. Green Bay was 1 of 5. All fingers would point to Chicago winning the game, yet here we are talking about another Bears loss.
Well, you look at the time of possession, 36 minutes to 23 minutes. This point of the year, as we're getting into it, good teams find ways to win.
Yep.
Sometimes you're better. It's better to be lucky than good. Green Bay moving on to 7-3, right in the mix, right behind Minnesota in the division, and 2 games back of the Lions in the black and blue division.
Yeah, Green Bay now 7-3, trying to keep pace with both the Vikings and the Lions. In another destruction today, the Denver Broncos put a whoop ass on the Atlanta Falcons, 38-6. This game wasn't close. Falcons didn't come to play. At one point in the fourth quarter, Cousins got pulled because it was a blowout, and they put Michael Penix Jr. in probably to get some experience. But 38-6, total domination. I've said this many times, Fuji. The Falcons will go as Kirk Cousins goes. He had a crappy game today. He was 18-27, 173, no touchdowns and a pick. Collectively, Fuji, Atlanta ran the ball 21 times for 50 yards. Drake London, 3 catches, 61 yards. Ray McLeod, 6 catches, 46 yards. Leading tacklers were Caden Ellis and Jesse Bates with 10 total tackles apiece. The Broncos, Bo Nix continues to impress. 28-33, 307, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Javonte Williams, 9 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, 7 carries for 78 yards. Marvin Mims Jr. and Jordan Humphrey, each with a touchdown apiece, as well as Troy Franklin and Nate Atkins. Jaquan McMillan, leading tackler at 9 total tackles. Going to the team stats, Fuge. Look, it was complete domination. Atlanta only ran the ball for 50 yards. Time of possession was even, but Denver just continued to make big play after big play after big play. And Atlanta looked lost. I don't know what to make of Atlanta. Denver battles. They're competitive. And Atlanta, one week they're doing great things, and then the next week they suck.
Well, it just seems like, I think Denver definitely being in the wild card hunt. Right. 6-5, Atlanta being 6-5, it just looks like Atlanta's just imploding. I don't know I actually thought this would have been one of the better games of the week. But, no contest. Poor Sean Payton just, Bo Nix, talk about Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
Looking great. But, I think Bo Nix is kind of like, under the radar coming on. Seems like, besides Bo Nix, I think that Denver defense is playing lights out too.
Yeah, they're for real. Yes, indeed. In a mild upset, they played less than a month ago and the 49ers won, but the Seahawks win the rematch 20-17. Geno Smith scored late to solidify the win. San Francisco just looks out of sorts for some reason. We all know what happens to the Super Bowl loser the following year. San Francisco sort of following suit. For Seattle Foods, Geno Smith, 25-32, 221, a touchdown, no touchdowns and an interception. Kenneth Walker, 14 carries, 54 yards and a touch. Jackson Smith and Jigba with 10 catches for 110 yards. Leading tackler was Ernest Jones with 13 total tackles. Geno Smith was sacked 4 times. Brock Purdy, 21-28, 159, a touchdown and a pick. Christian McCaffrey, 19 carries, 79 yards. Jawan Jennings with a big day receiving, 10 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Madore Lenore and Renardo Green with each 8 tackles apiece. We go to the team stats. It was, for the most part, Fuji, it was even throughout. San Francisco had 9 penalties for 54 yards. It's just, when San Francisco's defense needed to make a stop and make a play, they couldn't do it. Yeah.
Well, it's like definitely 6 and some change, with San Fran. Time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like you said, that division's real tough now because you figure you got, Arizona's on the bye at 6-4. Seattle's right there. San Fran and the Rams are all 5-5, and I don't know. I question this. San Fran coming off the hangover from the Super Bowl, but you think Kyle Shanahan's on the bubble?
I think maybe just a little bit.
I know they had their, lose, McCaffrey just coming back, Brandon Ayuk out for the year, Debo with that contusion in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
I think they actually lost Javon Hargrave for the year. Just like that team's injuries have just taken its toll. Guys have stepped up. Juwan Jennings, the running back. Can't think Jordan. I forget his last name, but these guys have had a lot of injuries, but you have guys that have stepped up. But I just don't know what's going on there in the Bay Area. Technically Santa Clara, but
they are now both 5-5. If anybody wants to keep track, the Bengals and Chargers are 0-0 in the first quarter. 10-17 left. And then the final game of the night, the Chiefs take their first loss of the year at the hands of the Bills, 30-21. Chiefs now 9-1, Bills 9-2. More importantly, right now Buffalo holds the tiebreaker. Patrick Mahomes continues to turn the ball over, which I don't like as a Chiefs fan. He just, for some odd reason, he just doesn't look right. But he was 23 of 33 for 196, 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 60 yards. Collectively, they only ran the ball 17 times for 78 yards. Xavier Worthy, 4 catches, 61 yards and a touch. Leading tacklers were Jamari Connor, Najee Jones, and Drew Trample with 8 total tackles apiece. Josh Allen making a case for MVP. He was 21 of 40, 262, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was the leading rusher, 12 of 15 and a touch, although James Cook had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. Khalil Shakir, 8 catches, 70 yards. Leading tackler was Terrell Bernard with 8 total tackles. Looking at the team stats, Fuge, look, Buffalo was 9 of 15 on third down. Kansas City was 5 of 10. Kansas City turned it over twice. Buffalo once. Buffalo held the time of possession, keeping Mahomes and the offense off the field, 34-25. But look, Kansas City really couldn't run the football. Mahomes was trying to do too much, Fuge. When you can't. This is what I don't understand about Spagnuolo. When it's third down and it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7 or longer, he has a tendency to blitz the quarterback for some reason, putting his corners on an island. That's what I don't like. I thought that when they got them in 3rd and long, Fuge, he should have protected the first down line. He didn't do it. That's why Buffalo was 9 of 15 on third down. They controlled the clock. They won a football game.
All right. I see majority of the game. It was just, Bills were, they were not running away. They were getting ahead, but Kansas City just kept coming back. But up until, the end, Bills finally pulled away. You really look at almost like an 8.5, 9-minute differential as far as time of possession. Bills definitely controlled the third down, 9 for 15 compared to 5 for 10. Mahomes sacked twice, where Josh Allen wasn't sacked at all. So, it was, like I said last week, I thought Denver had them on the ropes and just couldn't deliver the blow. And, like you said, you figured Buffalo was going to take this one. It's always both places are tough to play, but I think if this game was in Kansas City, it might have been a different outcome. But yeah, my hat off to the Bills. The Chiefs are still the crown jewel of the NFL, but everything's heating up. Bills go to 9-2, and Kansas City's 9-1. So it's definitely going to be interesting these last 7 weeks coming down the pike.
It's not like Kansas City's been blowing people out either. They've been flirting with disaster all year long, and it finally bit them. Before we get previewing week number 12 here, we go to the standings in the American Football Conference, which would be the AFC. AFC East, Buffalo has basically got it locked up. They're 9-2. Miami's second at 4-6. The Jets are 3-8, and the New England Patriots are 3-8 in last place. AFC North, Pittsburgh's 8-2 atop. Baltimore sits second at 7-4. Cincinnati is third at 4-6, and the Browns are 2-8. AFC South getting interesting now. Houston Texans are 6-4. The Colts are 5-6. The Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars are wrapping Christmas presents. They are 2-8 and 2-9, respectively. AFC West, Kansas City now 9-1. The Chargers sitting at 6-3. Playing the Bengals right now. They're in second. Broncos at 6-5 in third, and the Las Vegas Raiders getting ready for golf. They're at 2-8. In the NFC East, Philadelphia sort of has a clamps on the division right now at 8-2. Washington sits second at 7-4. The Dallas Jerry Joneses are third at 3-6. Giants are 2-8. NFC North. Detroit is 9-1. Minnesota 8-2. Green Bay 7-3. Chicago 4-6. NFC South, it's still up for grabs. Atlanta 6-5. Tampa Bay 4-6. New Orleans 4-7. Carolina 3-7. And out in the NFC West, your guess is as good as mine. Cardinals are 6-4. Rams, Seahawks, San Francisco, all 5-5. Mr. Fuji. So let's preview. We 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first. The Bengals are at 2nd and goal on the Chargers 3-yard line.
Yes, I actually got it. Got it on live.
Let's preview Week 12. It'll kick off Thursday night with the Steelers traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Pittsburgh right now open as a 4.5-point favorite. Fuge, forget about it. Steelers are going to probably wipe the mat with them.
Well, as bad as the Browns' luck and the Steelers are sitting atop that AFC North, it's still these games are still a knockdown, drag-out fight. No matter how good a team is or how bad they are, that rivalry's been going on for quite a few years, and I know the Steelers are, there's no comparison. But, Steelers will win, but I don't know. Depends. Can't take any team lightly. But, it's still a rivalry, and, I still think it's going to be a close game.
I got the Steelers. You got the Steelers. Next Sunday, these are 1:00 games. The Chiefs travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I'll say this here right now live. If the Chiefs lose to the Panthers, I will eat a raw carrot. I hate raw carrots. I will eat a raw carrot live on the show.
I think you should do something a little more daring than just a carrot. I'm sure you could think of something.
Maybe I'll come up with something better. But if I eat a raw carrot, I might actually puke live on the air. So this should be a blowout.
Right. No, of course. I mean, hell, the little sisters of the poor could beat the Carolina Panthers.
So Fuji and I both have the chefs. Also at 1:00, the Dallas Cowboys traveled, or the Fighting Jerry Joneses, as I like to call them, will travel to Washington to take on the Commanders. Washington is open as a 9.5-point favorite. Oh, Kansas City is an 11.5-point favorite over Carolina, by the way. Look, Cowboys are a mess. I don't see it getting any better. I'm not saying Washington's going to cover the 9.5, but Washington should win this football game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way Dallas, another team that's packed it in. But, that rivalry always seems to find a way to be close. But, of course, definitely the Commodores.
So not the band.
Yeah, Lionel Richie.
Yeah. 1:00, the New England Patriots travel to Miami to take on the Finns. Look, both teams are on life support. Patriots always struggle in Miami. Miami's opened as a 7.5-point favorite. I think the Patriots are improving. I like what I'm seeing out of Drake May. I just think Dolphins are getting healthy. I'm not saying that Miami's going to cover, but I think Miami wins the football game.
2 in a row. Guess you got to go with the Dolphins as long as Tua is staying healthy. Fingers crossed for him. It's as you say. They're both probably just playing for a higher draft pick at this point. But then again, who knows? You think the Dolphins could go on a run here? Or you think it's too late in the game? I mean, anything could happen going into week 12?
I just think there's too many teams ahead of them. They're going to be competing with the Bengals yet. Chargers are in the mix. The Broncos are in the mix. I just think they've dug themselves too much of a hole. But look, a lot of football to be played yet. We will see. Also at 1:00, the Minnesota Vikings travel to take on the Chicago Bears. Minnesota is opened as a 3.5-point favorite. Vikings are playing tougher and tougher games. Bears still have to prove it to me. The Vikings with a really tough win. Look, the Vikings won ugly at Jacksonville 12-7, and now they beat, the Titans 23-13. They're used to winning tight games now. I think the Bears will make a battle of it. I'm still taking the Vikings, though.
Oh, of course. It's in Green Bay. Just, it's definitely going to be another division game that'll just be close, And the Bears, since they fired Waldron, let's see if Caleb Williams can get it right. But this late in the game, you fire a coordinator mid-season. It's kind of like the Eagles last year, with the defensive coordinator situation, with that meltdown.
Yeah. Buccaneers travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the Giants. Buccaneers are 4-6. Giants are 2-8. Buccaneers coming off the bye. Giants coming off a bye. Tampa Bay is opened as a 4-point favorite.
Snooze fest.
I'd have to go with the Bucs, but close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought the Bucs were kind of showing they were one of the teams to be reckoned with in the NFC, up until Mike Evans' injury and then losing Chris Godwin for the year.
All right.
I mean, it's their defense has been playing all right, but losing those two guys, it's just especially in that AFC South one. They played Atlanta within the first couple weeks. Definitely go Tampa here, but like you said, not by much.
The Titans are going to travel to take on the Texans. Houston's open as an 8.5-point favorite. Houston plays Dallas tomorrow. Wouldn't surprise me if Dallas wins tomorrow, but it's not going to happen. Look, Titans, again, they battle Houston at home. I'm not saying Houston's going to cover, but I think Houston will win the football game.
Definitely. I mean, it's Houston, definitely one of those teams especially in the AFC South. Just I think, get Nico Collins back at the right time.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll have to get acclimated coming off that injury, but tomorrow will probably be a win. A big win against Dallas. Them coming off a short week playing Tennessee, but I still think Houston's definitely one of the teams in the AFC to be reckoned with.
Also at 1:00, Detroit travels to Indy to take on the Colts. Detroit's opened up as an 8-point favorite. This is one of those sort of, I want to say, trap games for Detroit. The Colts they're 5-6, but they battle, especially with the defense that they have. I think this is going to be closer than what people think, although I still think Detroit wins the game. Detroit has the best 1-2 punch in the National Football League, running the football. You can control the game, running the football. Do I think Detroit's going to cover the 8? Probably not, but I still think they win.
Agreed. I mean, they may play down the Colts if they're, coming just blowing out Jacksonville out of the stadium today. Like, probably just another scrimmage game. And Lions just, I'm sure they want to try to get ahead, and between Green Bay on their backs, Minnesota up there, the Eagles right on them too. So, they want to keep that supremacy for the NFC. Just keep it rolling.
At 4 o'clock, the Broncos travel out to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Denver has opened up as a 4.5-point favorite. Look, Denver's really only bright spot, to be quite honest with you, is Brock Bowers. Minshew's playing better. Broncos are in the thick of it for a wild card right now. If the season ended, they would be the 7th seed. So I'm taking the Broncos in this one.
Broncos, coming off a nice blowout today, going out on the road to Vegas to play the Raiders again. Always, no matter how good or bad you are, there's still that old rivalry. But definitely going Bo Nix. That defense is playing solid. Like I said, after smoking Atlanta today, who had one of the better high-powered offenses in the league. But
yeah. The 49ers are going to travel to take on the Packers. Green Bay has opened up as a 1.5 favorite at home. Telling you, man, it's a pick'em game for me. Packers need to keep pace with the Lions and the Vikings. San Francisco needs this one. I'm going to go with San Francisco.
Packers, coming off a big win today against the Bears. But, I think there's more pressure definitely on the 49ers to keep pace, especially in this NFC West. Also, just keeping pace in the playoff picture. Cardinals 6-4, and everybody bringing up the rear, 3-way tie, 5-5 in the NFC
West. Speaking of the Cardinals, big one in the NFC West. That has to be next week at 4:25. Cardinals travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Obviously, the Seahawks with the big win. Seattle's opened up as a 1.5 favorite at home. Just for shits and giggles, just to make it even more confusing and interesting, I'll take the Seahawks to win at home.
As I said, Cardinals coming off the bye at 6-4. Seattle coming off a big win today, knocking off the 49ers. And division, I could see this 6-4 and 5-5. I mean, it's definitely going to be a division battle, and could be one of the better games. And looking forward to next week.
Next week at 8:20, Fuji's Eagles travel to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Philadelphia has opened up as a field goal favorite on the road. Rams need to keep pace. Eagles need to keep pace with the others for home field. This is going to be a close game. Eagles better watch out, but I'm still taking the Eagles on the road.
That's really the only game the Eagles really had to really, travel a far distance, on the schedule. And the Rams could be a little, dangerous. But I think the Eagles pull it out. I'd say the Eagles win by at least a touchdown.
And then next Monday, the Ravens coming off the heartbreak against the Steelers, depending on what happens with the Chargers tonight. They're traveling out to Los Angeles. Now, you figure that out. So the Rams are playing the Eagles Sunday night in the same stadium, and then the Chargers play the very next night, same stadium.
Kind of like Jets Giants up at the Meadowlands. Yeah. How do you flip that? Just paint the end zones, I guess.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
Oh, speaking of the Chargers, they're up 7. 7-3 with about 2.5 minutes left in the first.
Okay.
Not sure how they scored, but as I said, 7-3 Chargers almost at the end of the first quarter. That Ravens coming off a tough loss. I don't know where the Chargers end up tonight. I think that game will be very close. The Ravens traveling across country. They get that extra day off. I'm going to go with the Ravens in a close one.
The Chargers with a touchdown pass from Justin Herbert to "Don't Diss Me, Will Disley." That's how they scored. Obviously, McPherson with the field goal kick for the Bengals. Ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up another edition of Endzone to Endzone. Again, Fuji dedicating this particular episode to his mother, who passed away a year ago. Thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Hey, look, we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty of everything now. One more week of football, weekend of football next week until Thanksgiving approaches. Once we hit Thanksgiving, you sort of know what you have. And a lot of these teams are really going to be making a push because they know what they have to do. There's going to be a lot of interesting playoff races. Bills with the big win today. They hold a tiebreaker now. Eagles with a big game next week. Some of these teams have big games next weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Mr. Fuji, what are you looking forward to next weekend?
As far as the games,
yeah.
Like I said, I mean, that Eagles game, coming off a big division win, especially, a game and a half up on the Washington. Just, Rams Chargers ought to be a good one. 49ers Packers. Now you start seeing who some of these, eliminating the bottom feeders compared to everybody jockeying for position, division wise, wild card wise. And it's as we get, as we close out the month of November, you get into December where it starts getting cold, and it's just gonna, you're really going to see who's, week by week. There's just a lot of crucial battles coming up, and just love football this time of year where you start, process of elimination. Who's basically, as I said, jockeying for position for, supremacy in either conference. I mean, the Bills being right up on Kansas City. The three-way run in the NFC North. The Eagles are right in there. And it's going to get interesting as the weeks go on. It's going to come to playoff time.
Yes, it will. Is there anything coming up on Fuji and Fleet this week or no?
No, not this week, but next week we are planning to have ex-Flyer Brian Propp.
Oh, nice.
Who played on the Flyers in the probably a good 10, 12 years, came up in 80, played on two Stanley Cup, actually played in 5 Stanley Cups, 2 with the Flyers, but never hoisted the cup. But, Brian just coming out with a book, we're going to promote that, get on a little bit about his career with the Flyers, touch on the state of the Flyers now. So, it's matter of fact, I got to place a call to him after I get off with you to just touch base. And, it'll be interesting to see Mr. Brian Propp at the Fuji and Fleet next Wednesday, the 27th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
you do realize that's Thanksgiving Eve, right?
I do.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
I mean, I know it's the biggest night of the year, but that doesn't mean I want to be out. I mean, too many idiots on the road. You know, checkpoints all over for. It's when the police make their money. You know that.
True. Well, again, thanks again, Fuji, for coming on. Like I said, Fuji is back from assignment on the equator. Enjoy the rest of the week, everybody. Fuji and I will hopefully see you next Sunday as we go over week number 12, and then we preview Thanksgiving week of NFL. I will hopefully see everybody tomorrow on the locker room. If not, then I will see everybody on the line of scrimmage this Tuesday at 8 p.m. A lot of things to talk about in college football. A lot of things going on. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. So again, Fuji, thanks for coming on, man.
Anytime, and everybody have a good week. God bless. Stay well. Holidays come and reach out to somebody you haven't talked to. Never know when you'll need each other. And go Birds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care. We'll see you next Sunday here on Endzone to Endzone.
Have a good one.